Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Garth Tubbs, and welcome to the Garth Tubbs Show, where we eat, breathe, and sleep success. All right, hey guys, welcome to the Garth Tubbs Show. On today's show, I have JJ Live, who is well known for being an international speaker and coach and helps people get famous online. JJ, my man, looking good in that Hollywood penthouse, brother. How's everything?
Yeah. Listen, let me sell it. It ain't made my penthouse, but I treat it like my penthouse because no one else be working here with this workspace. It's this brand new one in Hollywood, but it's gorgeous, man. Look at this and look at the views of like, dude, that's pretty damn good, dude. Like you wake up every day and you look out and you're like, I can do more. I can be more. Like what? Really? She didn't text me back and I'm going to complain. Get to work, player. You know?
Man, JJ, this is awesome, man. You're definitely living a very admiring lifestyle, man. This is great to hear. One of my favorite things I do like to know is, how'd you get there first, right? I mean, maybe not specifically into that penthouse, but I'm very curious, like what's your story, man? Let the people know.
Sure, man. Yeah, look, 17 years ago, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to travel around the world and I wanted to speak on the biggest stages in the world and tell the world who I am, what I do, and what I'm about, you know? And, you know, I'm fortunate so far that I've done that in 30 countries, spoken in 30 countries, and I've just brought my energy to the people, man, because, you know, people are everything. People are my passion and my purpose and, you know, culture and getting to know people and why do you do what they do? And, you know, I'm a very curious kind of person. So, you know, I started doing that as in different kind of, you know, fields, right? I started my career as a dancer and a singer, and then I moved on to being a magician, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. So I was a magician for like, you know, 10, 12 years, you know, and I built a really strong YouTube channel to 50 million views, which was fun. And then, you know, throughout that time, I always tell people I worked my life like I was a soldier in battle. Like every time I would learn a new skill, it would be a new piece of armor or a sword. So the magic was the shield. And then, you know, I was a speaker, and then that was the sword. And then I, you know, ran a nightclub in Asia. That was like, you know, the arm brace, you know. So every time I would go throughout life, I would just keep adding skill sets so I could use that in different situations when I would meet people or when I wanted to just connect with more people. So 2017, I came to America. And, you know, I was struggling of like, where do I want to sit? I was in Asia for a long time and I wasn't getting the traction I wanted in Asia. And I think a lot of it was just the language problem. And, you know, I said to my dad, I said, listen, I got to get to a country that, you know, is going to give me the opportunities and I don't have to struggle with the language. Mm. And then, you know, I got my visa, you know, about $11,000 later, the hardest visa to get, but I got it. And, you know, here I am today, you know, just trying to do whatever makes me come alive, man. That's it, dude.
Dude, that is an amazing story. It seems like you were destined to be on a stage, and I feel it when you talk to me, and I can see you. You're like, man, I want to be in front of the people, and so that's honestly like a great story, and it's very relatable to me too, and that's why I love being able to bring people like you on here, is because, you know, I'm telling myself, man, like, hey, yo, you're on the right track here. You know, there's guys that are doing this and it's a proven method. So just keep at it. Right. So that's great to hear. And I'm in the nightclub industry. So I'm curious to hear more about this nightclub you had in Asia. What was going on with that?
Yeah, man. So I was living in Sydney, and, you know, it was that kind of turning point when I invested into a really nice penthouse right in Sydney, like, you know, just thinking I would be the cool guy. Mm-hmm. And what happens? The most unhappiest, depressed, like it's exactly opposite. What do you think? And I said, listen, I got to change something up. And a buddy of mine, who was a magician, who's one of my best friends. He said, I'm going to go to my hometown, Vietnam, and like go back to my roots a little bit. Like, why not? I'm like, good on you. He went over there, got an opportunity to be an actor. And it was one of those kind of like, he became a superstar literally in a year, which is just one of those crazy things. And he said, hey, why don't you come over for my movie premiere? And I said, absolutely. So I came to Vietnam, and obviously I was already traveling to Asia, and I loved Asia anyway. So I did that. And then I, you know, obviously when you're with your best friend before he got famous and then after he got famous, it's a different world. And because you're in that social elite circle and you're the foreigner, and there wasn't like guys who look like me, I'm now like the superstar as well. So that gave me a lot of opportunities to, like, you know, meet people. And I was already doing magic and speaking and doing television. So it only just amplified what I did anyway. And I was in a bar and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, what are you doing now?" And I said, "Oh, I moved to Vietnam too." I said, "What am I doing now?" He goes, I said, "I don't know, man. Like, it's just taking a bit of time." And he goes, "Hey, listen, I franchised the nightclub Playboy in Asia. Well, I've got the franchise rights to run Asia, and I'm thinking of taking the brand and making it into a club. Would you be interested in," he knows me, we used to party, and he was like, "Would you be interested in being a part of it?" I was like, "I don't know, man. Like, it sounds really cool. Like, every guy wants to be that cool nightclub, promoter or owner, right? There's a lot of pros about it when you look at it from the outside, right? This firsthand." And I was like umming and ahhing, and I said to someone, "You know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? I do it. I don't like it. I leave, right?" So I took the opportunity, and I was very clear on, like, if I work in this, there's got to be a couple of rules. One, I only answer to one person, right? I answer to him. And two, I have to do what I do best. I have to run the club. Like, I have to run the people. Like, obviously he's the CEO and he's obviously like the big boss, but like, I want to be able to manage everybody because I'm good at that. I'm good at people management, in my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. So he gave me the opportunity to run the club. Anytime, any kind of promoters, sales, the bunny girls, like, I would have the chance to really, how can I give people the experience to have a great time, which in turn makes them spend more money. And this running the game.
Right.
So that was an interesting time. The only problem though, man, when you work with a brand like Playboy in an Asian country, not like Singapore or Thailand, there are rules. So it wasn't Vegas. Like, I missed that. The first few weeks was great because they were like doing events, but like then it went back. It was a little bit boring. It was slow. And I wanted that kind of every night, like popping bottles and like just running it like the puppet master, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't work like that. And then but that was like 8 months. And that was a really great time to be in a place where I had to manage a lot of people. I had to manage my own self. I had a lot of responsibility. And that was a really fun, but interesting because I had never experienced that before.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny, is I was looking up some of your old videos, 2012 in your magician days, and you're answering some questions on Facebook, and you always had this, like, you had this mentality, right? You were built, you knew it, and you knew that you're going to blow up, right? And that you're going to have tremendous success. And it seems like, from the story you just told me, your buddy, right? He also got, famous, and he had his blow up as well. Do you think that there's, especially with my younger listeners, and I tell them and I preach to them, hey, you want to build that team, right? These guys that are going to be riding, that they're pretty bought into success as well. Do you feel like that was a big part of your early years in your career?
So it's a great question. I was always jumping around like the world and, and doing different things. So I never really had that really clicky, like 5 or 6 guys. Like, I had a couple of friends different around the world, but I do agree though, if what I'm taking is correct, what you're asking, like, it's important to understand like those guys that were around and then see the success of everybody else. And I have to always say this to people because I have to remind myself, remember, your journey is not someone else's journey. You're a book and I'm a book, and I'm going through a certain chapter and you're going through a certain chapter. And it's hard sometimes because people go, well, look at this guy. Why does he have all this success and all these views? Like, what about me? I'm like, bro, it's not your time yet. Do you think a singer who's 22 looks at Justin Bieber and goes, well, what about me? It's like, dude, that's not your time, or that's not meant for you. So a lot of people, the one thing I had to learn was like, it's okay to applaud and welcome your friend's success. Whatever I can do to you, man, great. That's their story, and my time will come, or my time will be different, but we tend to, we're all, what that, like, this is in the nightlife world. Everyone is a little bit, oh, look at this guy, look what who girl he's with, look at the watch he's wearing. It can be a little bit of a jealous thing, and it can get to you here, and that can drive you in different ways that you don't want to go down.
Absolutely. So what took you from this, Playboy nightclub to then wanting to get on the stages and stuff? What clicked? What brought you that way?
Yeah, well, I've always been working. I've always been speaking. I was a magician, then I was an MC, and then I worked on television, and then I wanted to speak as well. So that was always part of the game. But I realize now, I always tell people, you only know what you know until you try. too many people, like I have a coaching business now for young entrepreneurs, right? And a lot of them go, I don't have clarity. I don't know what to do. I'm like, good. Do you think I know 100% what I want to do? Dude, I don't really still know either. You know, like we're still trying to figure it out, man. But the only way you're going to know is you try things. Like, dude, if I loved the nightclub life, I would have kept doing it. I'm not going to do something. I should be smarter than that. I'm not going to keep doing something if I don't like it or I don't feel it, right? So I think, I've always known that, like, okay, I got that element of what I thought I wanted, right? I thought I wanted the attention. I thought I wanted to say I owned a nightclub. That ego tick was cool, but that wasn't forever, So now it's like, I know where my power lies. I know where I need to play. And I'm sure you probably have the same understanding of that now. Like, you're not just doing a podcast because great. Well, if he did it, there's something interesting. I can feel that from you. You're a curious person. People who do podcasts, if they're coming from, usually they like people, right? Otherwise you probably wouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I've always wanted to work with a lot of people and lead them, get them out of their head a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And so whenever you thought about getting on that stage, right, and you wanted to become the speaker, first, I'm sure that thought came in your head. It's like, well, what am I speaking about, right? And is this a deliverable message?
Yeah.
Tell me about how that kind of unfolded and what you first started out with, and maybe even what you ended up ending with or currently in.
Yeah, so basically, like, because I was doing magic, so you do a magic show, and then eventually I'm like, what happens if I lose my props? Like, I don't want to be just seen as the magician. Like, I don't want to be seen with like something covering me. Like, I want to be able to talk to the people. And then I was like, well, one day I was like, well, how about I just start talking? Like, maybe I'll do jokes, maybe I'll present. And that worked. I'm like, how about if I did use no gimmicks and just spoke to the audience and connected with them? And then I was like, well, I don't have a sad story. Like, I didn't sleep on the street for 15 years. And then, like, I didn't go to clinic for drug, problems. Like, so like, what do I talk about? And that was my mind blocking off. Like, that's not what people want to hear. People want you to talk to them. They want to hear your story. They want to hear what you've went through. And so when I started to understand that it was okay, that you don't need to have this book, you don't need to have this like sob story to speak to people, that allowed me to connect better with the people and realize, as you said before, which I love, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You feel, no one would understand me, dude. Everyone is in your position, and even now with what's going on, bro, like, dude, whether you're 15 or 55, you may not be hurt financially at 15, but guess what? Why can't I go out with my friends? Why can't I go out and, like, why do I have to wear this mask? 55-year-old, they lost their business, they lost this. Everyone's hurting, so everyone can understand now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, man, that's great. You are a natural, my man. I like it. So I know you also mentioned you've gone into helping entrepreneurs, right? And kind of finding the next step, because it is, it does get a little gray and a little hazy sometimes. And what is it that brought you into that? And, what do you think is the forte of that? I don't know if I asked that the right way. Really, it's just.
No, I get it, man. Yeah. Like for me, why I started coaching young entrepreneurs is because I totally understand where they're at. When I was 18 years old, I didn't have anyone I could speak to. There wasn't Facebook around, there was like MySpace, but it was like, there was no groups. And the only way, and business coaching wasn't really a thing that you get at a young age. It's more like corporations would do that. So I really understood the feeling of, like, I didn't have anyone I could talk to, or someone would give me advice, but they'd be like 50 or 60, just more about, hey, you should look at doing this or doing this. So I understand as an 18-year-old, not knowing where I wanted to go, not having someone to speak to, and not having someone who can understand. So with what's going now, around the world, is a lot of these 16 to 22-year-old, guys and girls as well, are figuring out, well, they don't want to go to college, right? They don't want, it's like, I think I've got to go there, but I don't really know if I want to do that, right? So they don't want to go to college. They don't want to work at, let's say, a fast food joint, right? So they don't want to be making $7 an hour or $12 an hour, and they don't want to go to college. So they're in this really weird time. That road, or what do I do? And then they see these young kids with the Ferraris and the girls and the lifestyle marketing, and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to have to be that, right? And I get it, but that's not real. Like, these guys are using that to lure them in, right? I get it. So I'm like, how do I give these young guys a bit of guidance, and something that they can feel part of? They want to feel appreciated and part of something. So I created a chance for them to have a business that they can make money, and what's the best way to make money? Like on the internet,
Yep.
and a really low way to get in, and just having the support, teaching them the skills of like being an entrepreneur. And as you know what it's like, you got to show up, you got to be consistent, you got to like communicate, you can't live your life on the DM, bro. You just can't. So yeah, that really made me come alive, because I can see people, you giving them a bit of joy, giving them, because not everyone's got the greatest family around to support them, man. I get that. So, I did, but I know it's hard for a lot of other people. So it's like, how can I just be there as like, listen, man, I'll show up for you, but you got to show up and do the work too, man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. It's some really good stuff. I know, from, like I said, more research, I've looked you up a lot, and I'm loving your movement and everything you're doing. And
Thanks, man.
you're spot on, being the 25-year-old. I wish I knew like that somebody else too. Right. And now it's like, man, I know that they have it in their head. So let me just try to pull what I can out of them. And this is why, exactly like I sit in front of this screen right here and wanting to do that. That's the drive, is people know what they're doing. Let me just listen to them. Right. And that's it. And so I know a lot of what you talk about is really amplifying your brand. And, I'm curious if, to go in that a little bit, what about amplifying your brand? And, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, man. Well, like I'm a big believer of like, I've always been my own personal brand, my only personal promoter. And I think now a lot more people want to get to know who the people are. Like, for example, let's look at the richest guy in the world, right? Jeff Bezos. Like, people want to know what he does. Like, it's interesting. Like 10 years ago, we don't care. Amazon, they make money. No, I want to get to know what his core values are. What does he do? Like, who is he married to? Like, what does he eat every day? Like, what? We want to get to know you personally. So a lot of people have to understand that, and you don't need to be an Amazon. They don't need to be a you or a me. Listen, eventually you're going to want to do your own thing. I'm hoping so. Like, these people watching this are because they want to be their own person. So you're eventually going to have to sell something or do something. So that's why amplifying your brand, telling people who you are, what you do, and what you believe is important when it comes online. I know firsthand, and you know this, if you look at if you get to know someone or whatever, everyone's going to do their stalk on you. We do it because we can.
We can.
Like Google, like, this, like girls would do it to a guy. Let me just Google him. Yeah, but we do that with everyone, right? So if they see your profile and it's got no photos or a ghost, what does that do? It guards people. Why can't I see their life? Or if it's too perfect, right? If there's not, like some authenticity, they're like, there's a mask. There's like, it's too perfect. It's too filtered. So I think it's really important for anyone out there, you should start sharing your life. You should, look, it hasn't been proven wrong yet, and everyone's doing it. Like if Gary Vee's doing it, if Grant Cardone's doing it, if Tony Robbins is doing it, if like all these big players are doing it, the only person not doing it is you. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned a couple of your, I don't even know if they're really your idols, but like you said, the bigger people. And you mentioned, the Grant Cardones and the Gary V's, Tony Robbins. I mean, those are my guys right there. Who else do you look up to? Who are your like top mentor?
Yeah, like it's funny you asked that, because I got asked this the other day. Like I really am attracted to Grant. I like Grant's style. I like what he does. I like what he believes in. I like what he said about don't have too many guys. Like at the beginning, whoever's listening to this, you're going to listen to everybody. You should. You're a sponge. Sponge it all in. You can listen to me, you can listen to you. But eventually you're going to start being gravitated towards someone that you get along with. And I went to Grant's 10X event, and I just like what he's about. I like his vibe. I like his style. He's not liked by a lot of people, but that's okay. Tony Robbins isn't liked by a lot of people either. Gary Vee isn't. So yeah, Grant's good, and I like he's got that just like, I don't give a shit kind of style. Some things he does, I'm like, dude, like, wow,
Easy, buddy. No, but yeah.
But the thing is, he wins, man. Like the thing is, it's not like he's proven himself over and over and over again. So I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about, man.
He's got that sense of confidence when he walks around too. It's exactly like you say. It's be a sponge, and I like everyone's different style. The Gary V, which is, the hustle hard, keep your head down, don't worry about anybody else. The Grant Cardone style is just like, quit being a baby and like, wake up, like, let's go. Like,
get on the phone. Yeah. Like, yeah. And I think like what you said as well, you take different things. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think Gary's great as well. I think he's got some real, I remember the one thing of Gary that I never forgot, when he would have like little clips of people coming up to him at an event, and this guy comes up to him and he goes, "Hey man, I'm trying to start a social media agency. It's not working." And Gary's like this. He's like, okay. He goes, "How long have you been doing it for?" And he goes, "Oh, like 2 weeks." And he's like, "Get the out of here, man." He goes, "Come at me when you've done it for 3 years, every single day, and you're sending messages out. Then we can talk." And I was like, I got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Like stop, like, yeah. And even I have to do that. I'm like, "Oh, it's not working. Like, I didn't make the money I wanted today." I'm like, shut up. Like, what have I been doing it for? What, like 12 years? Shut up, dude. Like, dude, Colonel Sanders didn't start till he was 61. Like, yep. Even Grant says this. He goes, he said he only started really doing it correctly until he was like, I think 45 or 50, right? And I'm not saying that we're not going to make it until that time, but it does remind me and you, like, shut up, be consistent, show up, keep going. Like, we are doing what most people listening right now, everybody, I want to applaud everybody for listening right now. And this is why I'm doing this, because you are doing what most people in life are not doing. 90% of people are not doing this. They're not listening to information to help them, right? They're sitting in just like, it's not fair, I can't do anything. Like, you guys are doing what most people aren't. So remember that. Like, you're doing something that 90% of the world are not. So you're already in the 10%. Now, how do you be better? Or it's like, taking action and consistency, but like, just remember that. And I have to always tell myself that as well. Because like, go and hang out with people that are allowing life to pull them. You'll see, and you'll be like, oh, I think I'm doing not too bad at the moment. It's just because we're comparing, right? To other people. It's like, I'm taking my time, So yeah.
I felt that one, man. I felt that. That was a good delivery. I like that a lot. Seriously. I noticed also you've gone into kind of like getting in the press as well, right? And I think that's something that is starting to pop up, because at first I was like, whoa, I'm starting to notice this and it's nice. What do you feel like there's a time for people to start pushing themselves into the press, or what's your thought on that? It seems to me it's like a totally new subject, and I just wanted to hear your thought on it.
Yeah, man. Like, influence, I talk about influence all the time. I help people get, the line is, I help you get, if at a party, someone's like, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I speak, but I help people get famous on the internet." And I say that on purpose because it's very clear. I'm interested, and I'm obviously in LA, and I'm obviously in America, like, so it's going to attract people, but having influence online is very powerful, because the more people who know you, the more people trust you, like you, and buy from you. So, I do that in a few ways. I use Instagram to do that. Obviously, get your numbers up on Instagram, get that engagement going, and then get you in the press. So putting people in the media, putting people in like Entrepreneur or Forbes or Medium or Disrupt. I know the editors because of the relationships I know, and, the people I know around in town. So, having your brand and who you are in a famous press article, it's stupid, I know, but it works. Like, dude, like, Kylie Jenner gets 1.2 million a post on Instagram. If you just call her up and say, "I want it, how much is it today?" Now, you probably negotiate, but I'm like, dude, she's not the most talented. She's not the most pretty. Like, she's got influence. She's the Kardashians. They're going to scream 7 zeros. So like, it just shows you the more influence you have, right? People just, it's in our DNA. Like, like, perfect example, right? You put someone on the street, 2 guys on the street, right? One guy here is standing with like 2 people watching him, just watching him, right? Whatever. You take another guy with 200 people. Who are you going to watch go to first?
200.
But what? Hang on. But this guy's real attractive. He's real cool. He's wearing nice jeans. Like, but this guy's like looking like a bum or whatever. Like, because that's in our DNA. 200 people, it must be more important. Yeah, leave it at later. So that's what people forget about what they're seeing online. If you're in these famous articles, if you have a high Instagram growth, if you are someone of value, or people, or those number value, people will be more likely to go, "I want to know what they're about." And then if your character and your content is good, then you're going to smoke it. Most guys, it's like this, man. Most guys look it's like the Beverly Hills concept. Having a nice house, is great. That's what a lot of people have numbers on Instagram. Oh, wow, this house is amazing. The problem is when you walk into the house, there's no furniture. Like, dude, where is everything? You're like, what the hell? That's what a lot of people's problems online are. They have the numbers, but they have no soul. They have no content. They're actually boring. So if you have half decent content, like which you do, and you're showing up, and then you make yourself pretty on the outside, it's only just going to be like bam, 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 bam. You know?
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
So if someone is looking to use, what and your resources to kind of get into the press, how do they do that?
Just, man, hit me up on Instagram at JJ Live, JayJayLive. Just go, hey man, I saw you on this podcast, like, and I'll look after you. And really, my big thing is not just getting you in the press, like helping you. So why am I like coaching? Like, what do you really want to do, man? Like, dude, if you want to give me money and get in the press, I'll do that. That's fine. But I'm like, great, let me share with you how I can take this idea and get you to some better places,
Yeah. So what I'm also gathering is, with you helping entrepreneurs out, and entrepreneurs is like a whole spectrum of people trying to do something, right? Products or services, whatever it may be. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, is it kind of almost a la carte in a sense where it's, hey, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. JJ, help me, man. Like and I'm assuming you just line those things up for people, huh? Just like that.
Yeah. A lot of people, like, okay, for example, I'm working with a guy at the moment, and he helps men. He used to be a dating coach, but now it's more like, he's articulated his brand to a little bit more lifestyle, right? Being the male, being the guy that makes the right, confident mindset, makes right decisions, and just be the man that he believes men should be, right? So he came to me, he's like, I'm working so hard on my content, like, but no one knows of me. I'm a ghost. I'm like, great. So what we want to do is we want to boost your followers. We want to get people engaging with your content. So now, like, when you post stuff, you feel it's value. Like, oh, I'm working so hard, people are going to like comment on it. And then we're going to put you in 3 articles in different types of articles, which is going to bring a different audience in. And then you're going to have 3 different messages. One about your brands, one about your business, one about who you are, and one about how you're disrupting the industry you're in. Like what you're seeing, and this is why you're doing it. So my job is to like get because most people out there, and if you're listening right now, anybody, like, you're working so hard on your brand, I get it, I know how you feel, but no one knows about you. You're a ghost. I'm going to take you from the what do you call it? From the dark to the spotlight. From the shadows to the spotlight.
Wow, awesome. JJ, you're a killer, man. I appreciate your time.
Just warming up, baby. We just warming up from this today.
Hit right here, left, right. Watch your curve. Yeah.
Come on, man. We're good for that.
I like that. And so I'm curious too. There's a title that I found behind your name, Wingman. Tell me a little bit about that. Before we wrap things up.
I don't know. There's something just sexy about that word, like wingman. Like, I don't know. It's just cool. It's like, I'm your coach, dude. I'm your wingman. Mm-hmm. And we know, dude, you're my wingman. Like, wingman, you got your back. Like, I'm going to support you. Like, but hey, I'm going to still push you too. Like, but like when the chips are down, I'll be there. But like, I'm not your mum. Mum is like, everything works out perfectly. You're doing amazing as you are. Like, no, wingman is, come on, man. Like,
get it together, bro. Come on, pick your chin up.
Yeah, you can do better than that. Yeah, and I like the idea of everyone needs a cheerleader in their corner, man. Everyone needs someone to root them on. Everyone needs someone, hey man, and especially for people like us, man, and everybody listening right now, once again, like, you guys understand we're very unique. I know there's a lot of, entrepreneurs, or there are a lot of guys doing their own thing. Trust me, most of the world aren't. So this pool is very small, and you might have people around your life, guys, girlfriend, boyfriend, family, that may not support or understand your vision, and that's challenging. So it's really important you keep listening to podcasts like this. You keep going to those, seminars and conferences, and keep putting that information in your head every day. It's not to really like teach you. It's just to actually keep you on your game. Like half the time it's not motivation. They say it's reminding. Okay. Right. What are you filling it with? It's like, what are you putting in your body? It's like, putting crap food or good food. Like, it's just keep it going every day.
100%, man. Hyped up, man.
Yeah, man.
I do appreciate it. And I've got one more question, man. It's definitely great to have you on here. But before I let you go, I do want to ask one killer question.
Sure.
if today was your last day, what would you like to be remembered by?
If today was my last day and I want people to be talking about it for the rest of their life, it would be that I brought the energy to people and I really got people to believe in they can do more and they can be more and they can become more.
Oh man, that's love, bro. I definitely appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to watching you kill it, and I
Man,
hope we talk soon, man.
Jump on the fast train, dude. I always tell people, listen, I got the fastest train in the world. It's the Shinkansen. It's in Japan. It's the fastest train. I got my own train. Come on board. It goes quick. It will slow down, but I'm not stopping.
Right.
So you jump on, man. It's the best. Full first class service, anything you want, and whatever you need to help you do more.
Absolutely. You probably think I'm asking questions from somebody else, but really, this is me bringing all this up, man. I'm
Good,
like,
whatever, man.
I need this. I
Good.
like it a lot.
Good. And look, I want to say thank you as well. Like, I know that I speak, but I need this too. It reminds me. It gets me out of my head. Half the time, man, the reason I speak so much, it's actually sort of my, my therapy. It's my therapy. It's actually my therapy. For whatever reason, my DNA, when I don't speak and I'm not conversing with people, I get in my head. I have a terrible, one of my kryptonites is overthinking, and I don't know how to, I haven't figured out that yet. But that's why I talk a lot too, because it gets me to like clutter out of the clutter up here,
Yeah.
That's a bit cloudy.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Well, cool, JJ. I'm gonna let you get back to the crib, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Thank you. And hey, also too, man, shoot me your number and stuff like that. And I might have to come. Yeah, whenever time you're around, just shoot me. I'm always available, man.
I will, 100%. And I'm going to be hitting you up. Please. I promise. So I